Now, my next two guests have been with me many times over the course of this conflict, before it even started, in fact. Peter Zalmayev is the director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. Taras Bevezovets is a Ukrainian political analyst and founder of the Free Crimea project. Wanted to check in with you gentlemen again. Update us on what has been happening since we last spoke a few days ago. Where are you? What have you been seeing? Let's start with you, Peter.
Well, Michael, hello. Yes, and indeed, we're still in the same location, not too far from Kyiv. We are still hoping to get to Kyiv at some point. You know, we feel confident that the defenders of Kyiv are not going to give up the city. What we're doing here is, using the reliability of communications here in the city and therefore have launched an operation to try to penetrate Russia's informational blockade. Putin has increasingly shut down all independent media in the country. Essentially, there's no information, objective information, getting into the country about the war here in Ukraine. We have launched a YouTube channel which seeks to get to the Russians the true story of what's happening in Ukraine. And what's happening in Ukraine is you see growing desperation for Vladimir Putin, increasingly illegal tactics where civilians are being shelled, nuclear power plants are being essentially taken and in order to use them to blackmail the West. It's getting really, really scary as Putin has realized that his operation in Ukraine has not gone according to plan.
It is. Taras, let me ask you this: what are you hoping to achieve with this YouTube channel and trying to break that sort of veil that state media has over Russians? What are you hoping to achieve?
Well, it's absolutely obvious, Michael. Russia is turning in a country to the north of Northern Korea, just very much the same like it used to be in Soviet Union. They control everything: social networks, TV channels, YouTube channels, whatsoever. According to the Russian independent media, just the last week, nearly 200 Russian independent journalists have left Russia. So it's obviously very dangerous to stay in Russia and to be a journalist to cover war in Ukraine. That's why we are here working along side by side with our Russian counterparts to tackle Russian propaganda. We are targeting Russian public. We're giving them news here from Ukraine.
Which is a very noble effort. Peter, let me ask you, you told one of our producers something that struck me. You said, and I think I quote you here, you said, you see women with permanent tears in their eyes. Horror is visible everywhere. Is it even possible to describe what is happening to the people where you are, who literally a month ago or so were living normal lives in a beautiful city?
It is very difficult, Michael. There are very few people who remain, who are old enough to remember World War II. They are in their mid-90s, you know. So that means that there are hardly any people left in Ukraine to be able to kind of relate to previous experiences of what it feels like to be in a country, the entirety of which is under assault. Taras and I wake up every morning, and there's this split second, a moment of grace when we feel like, well, maybe this has all been a bad dream. And then we wake up into this, we realize that it's not. We are still stuck in this incredibly dark reality. You know, the photo you referred to earlier of a family of three, a mother and her two little children yesterday being killed while crossing a bridge trying to escape the northern part of Kyiv. And then there's a video of that. It is so senseless. You know, I still can't shake it off. All these people around us are seeing the same thing, obviously. And, we're living the same experiences. We're living the same videos. It is, we are not able at this point to digest what we're seeing.
Yeah. Taras, the thing is, Ukrainians and Russians, they have these historic, these cultural, these language ties with each other. What are Ukrainians saying now about Russia, Russians? How have feelings changed because of this?
Well, I think feelings generally around the country changed dramatically. We have our personal story. My mother-in-law is one of biggest Ukrainian cities on the east. We lost any connection with her for the last 6 days because Russians blockade the city, they bombed it, and they are trying to kill every civilian in it. And I think after this, millions of Ukrainians would feel, I would say, well, literally hatred towards even Russians, not only Vladimir Putin, but Russians themselves. It's very hard now here in Ukraine to explain to people, to persuade them that it's not Russians as a nation who attacked Ukraine and killing them. People say we have to blame not only Putin, but the Russians themselves. It was very clear yesterday, by the way, that Russians who protested against this evil regime in many Russian cities, it was very clear signal to many Ukrainians and many people to the West that Russian spirit is still alive, that there are still many people who feel sorry about what's going on here in Ukraine. But I would say from my perspective, from perspective of many Ukrainians, it would be very hard to forgive Russians after all.
And Peter, before we let you guys go, your thoughts on that same question?
Well, I mean, I'll just, I obviously, agree fully with Taras, but Michael, if you allow me to just say something that I think is very important so that policymakers who are listening hear us, that, now there's a no-fly zone discussion, and the Ukrainian president has appealed to the policymakers to close the air space over Ukraine. They have refused to do so for understandable reasons. They are afraid of a nuclear confrontation with Russia. But folks, Putin has called the world's bluff, and it's going to be time to call his bluff back sooner rather than later. Putin is not going to stop at Ukraine. So, I'm afraid that Europe will have to revisit this issue. For now, though, it has to enable Ukrainians to control its own airspace by giving them fighter jets. This is being discussed now between Eastern, Central European allies and the U.S. It has to enable help Ukraine boost its air defenses, surface-to-air missiles, and Bayraktar drones. This is very important. Ukrainians are showing incredible resilience, but they need all the help they can get. Thank you, Michael.
I've been interviewing both of you since well before this even began, and we will continue to check in and follow your journey. Peter Zalmayev, Taras Bevezovets, as always, good to see you both. Do stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.